human rights activists are urging Iran to stop executing protesters. Authorities have carried out a number of death sentences since the demonstrations against the regime began more than 3 months ago. One of those currently waiting to be executed is Ghareh Hassanlou, for allegedly being involved in the death of a member of the security forces. His wife was also arrested and tortured before being given a lengthy prison sentence. DW has been speaking with Ghareh Hassanlou's brother, who lives in the Netherlands.
Hamid and Farzana Ghareh Hassanlou, a married couple with a very bleak future. I saw photos of them in court. I was so shocked. It looked like they had aged by a decade or two in just 3 weeks. Hamid Ghareh Hassanlou was sentenced to death. His wife Farzana to 25 years imprisonment. The couple attended a ceremony at the start of November to honor Hadis Najafi after her death. 20-year-old Hadis was shot during a protest. In the night after the ceremony, the couple were beaten and arrested in front of their 2 children by Iran's voluntary militia, the Basij. They were accused of participating in the death of a member of the Basij militia during a protest. Ghareh's brother, who lives in the Netherlands, says his life has turned into a nightmare. The last time my brother called me, I couldn't take his call. I had planned to call him back the next day, but I didn't. I can't forgive myself now. Hassan Ghareh Hassanlou says no evidence was presented in the trial of his brother and sister-in-law. He added that there was no proof for the accusation that his brother kicked the killed member of the militia. The only evidence for the death sentence was Farzana's coerced confessions under severe physical and mental torture. Confessions that Farzana even denied in court. Hamid's brother has X-rays showing the physical abuse his brother was subjected to. Several ribs were broken from the torture, and the fractures caused his left lung to bleed. And he had to go to court in that state. He went straight from hospital to court? Yes. Because of the torture, he had to undergo 3 operations. He had barely recovered from the last one when he was brought back to the court. Despite the severe torture, Hamid never confessed to the murder. When we were kids, our biggest dream was to wake up and see a lot of snow on the ground. That would have been the best thing for us. Now I get up every day hoping or dreaming to see a meter of snow and Farzana and Hamid free. I look straight to my phone first thing in the morning for news, good news. I start my day with that hope.
So we're hearing there from the brother of an Iranian man who was in danger of being executed, speaking to us here at DW. And we've just heard that that death sentence has now been lifted. Let's consider this with Mahmoud Amiri Moghadam, who's an Iranian human rights defender and director of the Norway-based non-governmental organisation Iran Human Rights. Welcome to DW. You must be very pleased to hear this news.
Thank you for having me here. Well, yes, so this morning, several Iranian newspapers reported about lifting of this or removal of the death sentence, although they say it's possibly removed at the order of a higher official, and the higher official normally who has the authority to do that is either the supreme leader or head of the judiciary himself. But the family hasn't received any official notice yet, so we are not sure. But if that's the case, of course, we are very happy. But we also know that there are a dozen others waiting or at risk of being executed. And of course, the international attention around the case makes it more difficult for the authorities to actually conduct the executions.
And do you think that obviously we're speculating at this point, but do you think that might be part of the reason why this execution has been lifted, the international attention that this case has attracted?
Absolutely, because the aim of the executions is to spread fear. The Iranian authorities, they have decided to do some executions of protesters because they have realized that after 3 months of shooting at them on the streets, killing several hundred of them, the protest continues. So they have escalated this violence by issuing death sentences, and we know that the death penalty is the most probably powerful tool to spread fear. So at the same time, they want to pay as little price as possible for these executions. So cases that are not known, they are in more danger. And it's not a coincidence that the first protester who was executed, Mohsen Shekari, basically there were no pictures of him outside. We did not know so much about him.
And perhaps you can explain to us the thinking behind the regime, because the world is seeing these protests. Clearly, the regime is trying to crack down on them. But rather than charging them with riots, the charges seem vague. Things like enmity against God or corruption on earth. Why not charge them, say, we are putting you to death because you took part in these riots, and the rest of you pay attention to this?
Well, you see, the vague charges of corruption on earth or Moharebe, waging war against God, it gives the power to the judges to basically decide and define who they want to sentence to death. We are not talking about a rule of law or due process.
Right.
These revolutionary courts, they are just extension of these oppressive organs that you see on the streets.
Well,
so basically,
I was going to say thank you
they
so
just
much
use it
for talking to DW this morning, and we wish you well with your efforts. Mahmoud Amiri Moghadam from Iran Human Rights.